right, ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back for the second time in 10 minutes. DiabloCast has returned. For those of you who missed it, well, if you happened to make the start of our first attempt at DiabloCast, it failed, and we're back. Trying one more.
Laugh at our cheesy jokes one more time.
Yeah. Well, last time they couldn't even hear my cheesy jokes, so...
No, that's true.
That's fine. All right, so anyways, enough of that. DiabloCast, we're back. Kevin's back, as you can tell.
I'm back.
We just abruptly went into that. Scheduling issues in the past, but we are back together as one cohesive unit again. Creepy.
Like an Archon.
Really creepy. Awesome. All right, so today's Diablo discussion, we will be mentioning... It is, in fact, Diablo's 15th anniversary. 15 years old he is at the moment. We'll be also going over Blizzard's beta key giveaway, some videos of the Demon Hunter ruined abilities, reduced Gore in Diablo 3, no thank you, some blue responses to a release delay, and then lastly, some more postings for console openings. Looks like the game is actually coming to the consoles, despite what many people would wish. It's happening. So get over it. Jump into the first topic, which is Diablo's 15th anniversary today, December 31st. Happy New Year.
Yes.
All right.
I feel like I should say happy birthday, though.
Happy birthday, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, too.
Yeah, all that stuff. So it's Diablo's 15th anniversary today. 15 years old. There you have it. And we already
grow up so fast.
We already said this. We said this last time, but I find it mildly hilarious that he can't play his own damn game. Diablo cannot play the game modeled after himself. How ridiculous is this?
Poor kid.
It's unbelievable. His mom and dad won't let him play, and
it's obviously because of the gore.
That's obviously what it is.
Obviously.
Anyways, Diablo's 15th anniversary is today, so congratulations. One thing that we are still waiting on is there was mention from Bashak of them doing something special today, something special for Diablo's birthday. We have yet to see anything. I guess it's only 1 p.m. though over on the East Coast, so they still have some
2 p.m.
time. Oh, it is?
Yep. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, actually? Nope, you're right. It is 1 p.m.
You don't know what time it is.
No, Arizona sucks, and or either that or we're too cool and we don't do daylight savings, so everybody else rolls their clocks and we just leave them alone.
I see.
Yeah, we're pretty weird.
That's interesting. So anyways, yeah, there should be something happening today. Still have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I mean...
Maybe it's a release date! Hey!
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
I mean, like I said before, the @Diablo account tweeted, and the Diablo Facebook page made a little wall post about the 15-year anniversary and included a link just to the game guide. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Bashak did say we should see something, so I'm waiting for it.
Yep. We'll have to wait and see, but, there should be something Diablo-related happening today. I didn't want to wait until that event actually happened, but if you guys keep an eye out, honestly, the best bet's probably going to be the Blizzard Twitter account. I would have to imagine that if anything goes down, they're going to tweet it.
Yep, that sounds about right.
That's going to be my assumption, that is what would happen. So keep an eye on the Diablo 3 Twitter account over there, and what is it? Probably twitter.com/Diablo. The assumption is, that's it.
What it is.
And yeah, if something happens today, when something happens today, Diablo birthday related, you will find out. I swear, if we get a stupid picture or wallpaper, I'm going to be peeved.
I'm just going to get one wallpaper. We're going to get like 5. Okay?
We should get 15. But no, I mean, I just don't understand. They give us pictures and wallpapers as, these great things, but I don't care. I could care less if they release a new wallpaper.
Wallpapers are definitely cool.
Sure, but a lot of times the fan-made wallpapers are frankly better.
Yeah, I mean, and we're rating, 3 years officially and 10 years unofficially?
Right.
Yeah, so...
Give me something other than a damn picture or wallpaper, please.
I mean, the game would be nice.
Yes, if they release the game, if they decide to release the game today for Diablo's 15. First of all, how did that not happen?
And how cool? Yeah, how cool would that have been?
How did they not plan and just decide to push out the game for Diablo's 15th anniversary? For the love of God, that should have happened.
Honestly, it's like, yeah, so what? They missed Christmas. Who cares? They missed Christmas the first time around too, and it still was amazing.
No matter what, unless they wait till next December, they're gonna miss Christmas. So, I understand that they're.
Yeah.
I understand that there are your proper times to release a game. You release it, depending on what you want to do to your competition. If there's a game that you think is going to compete for your customer base, you'll release it within that time frame. Sure, I understand that, but I'm talking about coolness factor here. And in terms of coolness, the game should have been released today.
You know what? They should have also given out Diablo 1 for free.
Damn it,
Just throwing that in there.
Blizzard! You best be listening here on new.
Hey, they're giving us Diablo 2, but they're not giving us Diablo 1.
Yeah, well, anywho, I think that has to do with ownership, though. I don't think they have rights to Diablo 1. So.
Oh yeah, obviously.
That's probably the issue.
Got to be.
All right. Well, that is it. So next up is a Blizzard beta key giveaway. Did we just talk about this? I'm having deja vu.
Deja vu. We did not talk about it.
Okay, good. We did in our last failed attempt, but yes. The Blizzard beta key giveaway happening on the Blizzard CS Twitter account. They're giving away, of course, 100 beta keys a week for 5 weeks. Well, the first wave went out last week, and obviously you have 4 more chances to win. There's 400 beta keys left that will be given out. Problem is, though, some of the winners didn't even send their Battle.net email addresses. For the love of God, the super facepalm moment. All right, let me explain the process. I think people are assuming that they're just going to be getting keys, and it's certainly possible. But what Blizzard plans to do is, if you win this contest, they're just going to, take your Battle.net account and add the Diablo beta client to it for you to download, instead of just handing you out a key. They don't want to hand you out a key because then I guess you could just go around and sell it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They're willing to give keys to like influencers and fan sites, people like me and Kevin, or any of the fan site, any of the fan sites available out there. They are willing to give us beta keys because we're kind of in a trusted relationship, basically.
Right.
But they're not just going to hand out beta keys to the general public because they don't really, not to sound rude, but they don't know you guys, and they don't know if you would just sell it or something. So their plan is to, you win something. If you win any of these official Blizzard contests, they are just going to attach the beta client to your account. But you need to send them your account information. So if you're entering this beta key giveaway on Twitter, please make sure part of what you're doing is including your Battle.net email address. In the process, in the victory process. Because what they said here is, going through the first week's winners, we are noticing that several of you didn't use your Battle.net address to send your submission. So essentially, you want to send the email from the same email that your Battle.net account is tied to.
Correct.
Right.
Still confirming.
Yeah, and in addition to that, only one entry per beta Battle.net account per week. So meaning you have 5 chances you could win. Well, right now I guess only 4 because one's already gone out. So
yeah, you guys missed out last week. Sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah, I bet someone listening to this actually won. So
I would like to think we have a big enough outreach for that.
Maybe. It's a total of 5 people probably watching this right now. All right. I think 5 people watch the DiabloCast and they just spam F5, so that's why we're getting views between like 10 and 20,000.
It's got to be.
Assuming that's what happens. YouTube's now going to investigate all people viewing my videos to make sure they're not like boosting my views or something. Hilarious. All right. Next up, that is it. Okay, just one last thing on that. If you still want a chance to win, you just have to go to twitter.com/BlizzardCS, and you can enter there for the beta key giveaway, Diablo 3. All right, next is we got some videos here, some pretty cool videos, and now finally something that I can show you guys. These videos were placed up on YouTube and just showcasing some of the late game Demon Hunter abilities as well as some rune spells. Now, this was actually posted by YouTube user Dakaroth. I think that's how you pronounce it. And
sounds good to me.
Yeah, what is this from, Kevin? How exactly is he having access to this stuff? You mind explaining it to the people?
So essentially, he's just using an emulator. What the people that made this emulator did was reverse engineer the Diablo 3 client and the Battle.net server, the 2.0 server that runs Battle.net. Now, Dennis was asking in our fail attempt why people could access these skills and why they could not access further maps in the game, and this is just simply because, and I guess I'm assuming here, the server itself doesn't have these maps within its information base, whereas the client can just go ahead and tell the server, well, you know what, I'm level 60 and these are the skills that I have on my toolbar, so these are the skills that I'm going to be using, and then the client just says, well, okay, because you're the client and you said that that's what's happening, which kind of isn't that great because it means that people could potentially hack. But I'm definitely assuming Blizzard's going to be able to catch stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, That's the gist of it without getting into anything really too technical.
Yeah, So yeah, I mean it's interesting, and actually what we're seeing right here is some of the runed abilities, which I think is awesome for Reign of Vengeance. I really liked this. Did you get to take much of a look at this, Kevin? Do you happen to see?
Oh yeah, I mean, it definitely looks pretty awesome. Like, I mean, I don't know. They just like dive bomb at the ground. It's so sick.
It's hilarious. It looks so cool. I mean, I hope everyone gets some sort of massive ability like that. Well, because literally, this Demon Hunter ability, when ruined, takes up the entire screen.
Yeah.
What if 4 people are doing this at once? And this,
Exactly.
you know what? This is probably going to go back to the notion of why they, you know, we talked about this in much depth over the summer in past DiabloCast. The player cap of 4. You know, there's been so many complaints, but take a look at an ability like this, and imagine this times 4, because that's what you'll be seeing. Then imagine it times 8. Like, it would be ridiculous if 8 people were doing the same thing on the same screen in one game. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure graphics cards would fry. Like, I think that would be the end result.
I'm curious as to how 4v4 PvP is going to go down. Because I mean, as far as
it's
we know,
it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely fours. So that'd be definitely interesting.
Oh man, that just shoots everything I said in the foot. Well, no, not necessarily. No, not necessarily, because if a 4v4 situation is different than 8 people playing through the game where there's enemies in that.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
As well. Oh, did you look at that? It's coming in from like a. It's so awesome. It looks so cool. I'm just a huge fan of these ruined abilities. This almost is enough to make me want to play a Demon Hunter, but not.
I mean, it's definitely pretty sweet. I mean, maybe once you get high of a level.
I still have no desire to play the Demon Hunter. I don't know what it is. I guess the other thing too is that I plan to probably stick with like 1 or 2 characters. I don't have time to play all 5. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, throughout the course of my Diablo experience, I'm definitely going to play through all 5.
Of course.
But I mean, I'm really only going to work on like my wizard and maybe the monk or so.
Right.
Maybe the demon hunter. I mean, I don't know. But yeah, we're definitely going to experience all the classes just so we know. I mean, obviously, Dennis and I both want to be pretty good at PvP. So in order to do that, we really need to understand all the classes anyway.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean that's I don't know. There's something about the class that doesn't do it for me as a ranged class. It just doesn't feel like it should. And the other thing too, to be perfectly fair, what I've seen, my experience of I've played the Demon Hunter in the beta. I played all classes up to level 13, which is as far as we can go right now. That is amazing. Look at this ruined ability. He's dropping bombs from a lantern. What a joke. This is just unreal. But my experience is clearly limited in and of only going to level 13, and the fact that not only that, but not having any access to any rune skills, because the beta just doesn't have access to runes. So I will hold full reservations on the class until we reach that point and I'm able to play the game live and I'm able to get past level 13 and stuff like that. But from what I've seen so far, I'm just kind of meh about the class. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. You have your own opinions.
So are you a fan of the Demon Hunter? Is that something? Is this going to be your 3rd in line, your 4th in line, or is it back down to number 5, the 5 slot? If I had to make an order, let me do my priority list right here really quickly before you give your answer, because I love interrupting.
Sure.
I'm going to go barbarian, wizard, probably witch doctor, and then monk and Demon Hunter. I think that is probably going to be my play order.
Really? You prefer the Witch Doctor over the Monk?
Well, the thing with the Witch Doctor is I spent so much time in WoW playing a Warlock, and I feel like that there's a lot. There will be it's clearly not the same at all, but there's some similarities in just the general feel of the class, kind of the dark spellcaster as opposed to the high and mighty wizard or mage or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's definitely true.
So that's me though. That's my preference. So what about you? What's your 5 from top to bottom?
I mean, I'm definitely going to have a wizard as a main. That's I've been saying that forever. And then my next, for the longest time, I wanted my Demon Hunter to be my number 2, but I guess I'm really not sure because, like you said, it really hasn't just been that fun in the beta. So and then I was really surprised. I really liked the Monk. So I think my list is going Wizard, Monk, Demon Hunter, Witch Doctor, Barbarian. And then the Witch Doctor, Demon Hunter might switch to 3, and they might flip-flop. I don't really know. I guess it depends on how cool they are endgame. Because again, we're really just basing this off of level 13 stuff. Like, if I can jump in the game and get on a Witch Doctor and just do whatever the hell I want just because he's awesome, like that'd be sick.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It just depends. Like I said, I'm going to play through all of them. But yeah, obviously I'm going to work on my Wizard and probably the Monk. as my top 2, just because, I don't know, the monk ended up being pretty awesome, and I really didn't expect that.
Yeah, very cool. Happy to, I mean, I like the monk, and I really liked. I remember if people go back and look at my beta playthroughs, they'll see that I enjoyed the monk more than I thought I would when I was doing the initial playthrough of it. It's just like when it comes to what I'm most interested in, unfortunately, it's not going to top the list, And again, it's one of those things where you only have so much playtime. And with everything else, obviously, I love Diablo and I spent so much time with it. But I've got other stuff going on, too, with the channel and everything that I'm doing. So I can only devote so much time to it. But I'm going to play the Barbarian like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on, shall we? Next up, we will be discussing Reduced Gore. Now, we're going to allude to the fact that it's Diablo asking this question. No, it's just a silly, stupid, cheesy joke that we've probably said about 3 times now, and it gets worse every time we bring it up. So, people were asking on the forums last week, hey, I'd like Diablo, but I'm 5, and I want the gore to be reduced. So what's the deal, Blizz? And Bashak responded with, we don't currently have any plans to provide reduced gore options. The game is rated M for mature, which is a 17+ rating. And we encourage parents to remain aware of game ratings, the content in the game that led to that rating, and keep them in mind when choosing which games are appropriate for their family. So Blizzard pretty much flipped the guys the bird and said, you don't like it, don't play it. And it's an interesting response, but I mean, do we agree? As Diablo fans, do you think that there should be a reduced gore option for friends and family Diablo fun time? Is that what it should be?
Yeah, where we hit somebody and rainbows drop out.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I can't say no to an option. Like, I'm never going to use it, but if it's an option, what do I care? But at the same time, it's like if you've ever played Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, which the op says he enjoyed Diablo 2 growing up, so then why is this even a problem?
Did he walk into the butcher room, or did he just skip all of that?
Yeah,
That's my question.
Right.
It's, something I have to wonder, because obviously Blizzard is the last company in the world that you can accuse of being against options. When it comes to what they have, in terms of the wide range of systems that they can play on, they put a lot of energy, time, and money into, being able to accommodate a large group of players, And obviously, people are going to say, well, that's just so they can sell more copies and make more money. Yes. That's true. Yes. Congratulations. Stated the obvious. But that, I think that if they felt that it was really worth their time and energy, they would do it. What I have to wonder is it really that much work that they're just saying, you know what, it's not worth it for us to do this. It's not worth it for us to go through the entire game, all of our animations, and try to make a second copy of everything for people who want less gore in the game.
And I mean, it's Diablo. Like, what do you expect?
Right. I mean, the game's about the effing 15-year-old devil.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
just a little young buck devil.
Maybe in demon years, like, you multiply each year by 100 or something. So maybe Diablo's actually 1,500 years old. That seems a lot more reasonable to me.
Yeah, that does. That sounds logical.
So, point being that it's not going to happen. Reduced gore isn't something that they're looking to add. And because the other thing, too, is we take a look at the game. When we speak of reduced gore, what specifically are you looking for? Do you want less blood? Okay, I could see them, trying to remove the blood. But what about the death animations? What are they going to do? Just completely...
Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, what are they going to do? Completely change everything? I mean, there's an individual death animation for every monster in the game, depending on what kills it.
Right. Not only that, but heroes as well. And then this is what I was going to say. What about the mini bosses, like the Siegebreaker that just takes you and rips you in half?
Yeah.
Or eats you, whatever he does. Like, they're just going to have to come up with something completely new for that, or make it so that way that just doesn't happen, which would affect gameplay then. I can understand the request, but you shouldn't be buying the devil game for your kids if you're worried about gore. Like, that should just not be something. I mean, I see so many parents against the Modern Warfare game series and stuff like that, which I certainly understand. But imagine if you were introduced, hey, you don't like your kids playing Modern Warfare? How about the devil? Yeah, that's
how about El Diablo? Does that sound good? Like, clearly a parent will be like, no. So I'm interested into first of all, who is really looking for this, and what are they looking for? And clearly, based on Blizzard's response, it'd be just way too much time, work, effort, money, energy for them to deem it necessary. If there was any possible lucrative advantage to this, you bet your bottom dollar that they would find a way to make it happen. But
I'm sure. But I mean, again, it's Diablo. Like, what do you expect?
Right. Blood, guts, gore, demons. I really think that a big part of it is what we mentioned, because they have driven home the fact that they have put a lot of time into the various death animations. That took up an entire panel. I think, what was it, the 2010 BlizzCon or something?
Yeah.
Or was it 2009?
Like
one of the BlizzCons, there was a panel all about death animations. They were so excited. They're like, oh, we got different death animations. If you kill with acid with this spell, if you kill him with an axe, you'll cleave him in half. If you hit him with a hammer, he'll explode. Like, I mean, and that's like almost all the characters in the game. That's like almost all the monsters in the game.
Exactly. I mean, I didn't really think it was that bad. Like, I didn't think it was too out there. Like, I mean, look, I'm a guy running around with an axe that's just trying to smash people in half and make them explode. Like, of course it's going to be awesome. Like, why would I not want that to happen when I killed something?
I'm trying to think. I don't remember the name of it. There's some FPS game that's just like crazy gory. I don't think it's Wolfenstein, although it could be. I can't think of it right now, but I remember seeing some FPS where you could literally see like individual limbs just flying off and crazy stuff like that.
You know, speaking of which, in Modern Warfare 3, I've been playing a lot of that lately, and when you get shot or killed, money falls out of you instead of blood.
What?
What's up with that? Money shoots out.
What?
Like, if that's the case, I'm going around and killing people, obviously, because I want money.
You're crazy.
I don't know. I mean, just on the topic of gore, I don't know. I just don't see that. Like, I just got shot by a gun and money shoots out.
Yeah.
Don't get that one at all.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I actually haven't picked that up, and it's interesting because I did play a lot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but I haven't. The past couple of games, I've just been like, I don't know.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, I don't really play for the campaign. I play the multiplayer.
Right. Yeah, well, that's the only thing that matters. So
obviously,
it's gonna get so much flack for saying that. All right, so reduced score option not going to be happening in Diablo. I apologize. I can understand people wanting it, but again, this game is clearly suited to a certain and tailored to a certain audience. Not looking at the name of the game aside and joking on that aside, it's an M-rated game. You have to take that into consideration. If you want a less gory game, it's not going to be Diablo. And, you know, I saw this, and I hate to be that guy, but I saw this in the forum somewhere. People were, you know, advocating, this should be happening. They say, go play Torchlight. And I don't know, I kind of have to agree. If you want a less gory Diablo-style game, Torchlight's probably going to be the answer, too. And
I guess that's
Torchlight
true.
and Torchlight 2, they're solid games. Torchlight, I didn't feel quite had the depth, obviously, that Diablo did, but they've made some big improvements on the upcoming Torchlight 2. The game's looking great. If you want a less gory action RPG in the vein of Diablo, I would take a look at Torchlight 2. Maybe that's what Bashok was trying to tell everybody. Probably not, though. PR reps would kill him. So.
Yep, definitely. And, of course, when they killed him, blood would not spill.
That's right, because they turned on the no gore option. So.
Yep.
Right, indeed. All right, next up is going to be some discussion of release delays. Release delays have been on the minds of all Diablo fans, although I can't really say it's an actual delay because there was never an official release announcement date. But we have a bunch of blue responses from over on the Italian forums, basically a blue poster over there, responded to some questions about the release delays and what the heck's going on. So I'm just going to run through a couple of these with you guys, and we'll just talk about them just briefly. I wanted to mention this stuff. So, first and foremost, do you think what Jay Wilson said, which is that the game will be about 6 months after the start of the beta, is still your target? Or after the pushback, the claim is no longer to be considered? The response to that question is, let's say that when it comes to release date, should always be considered as the latest version of the facts that we announced with the message of Mike Morhaime about the release of Diablo 3 in 2012. So basically he's stating that, you know, when Jay Wilson initially made his statement that, okay, we're going to start the beta about 6 months after that, we should be seeing a release of the game, that statement held true then. But then we have a new updated statement from Mike Morhaime, also a representative of Blizzard, obviously.
Yeah.
he has some say in what goes on there. And,
just a little bit.
And he stated that Diablo 3 is now going to be in early 2012. So people who are trying to go back to older, outdated statements, that's not going to work. So the beta is no longer an indicator of the approaching of the release date, as the original plan has jumped to what we announced in 2012, which as of now is still early 2012. There has been speculation that it could get pushed back to maybe the middle of the year. We still don't know. Again, the idea is that we're getting so close to early 2012. In fact, we're only a day away, and and there's still no word on anything. I have to assume that we're going to hear an announcement. What are we, 1 to 2 months before release? Does that seem reasonable? I don't think.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable, because I mean, they do have to let us know that the game is coming out, because then they have to prepare to turn the beta off. They usually turn it off for like 2 weeks in advance, I believe.
Right.
Something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, I want to say we'll know pretty far ahead of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's going to be the assumption, but there are still people who are like, hey, maybe it's going to get pushed back, and still a few more questions and just interesting stuff. Let me grab this one right here, number 3. If the release goes beyond March 2012, I would not say objectively that the target is still early 2012. But what will happen should the beta last until February, March? I mean, there would be no impact on the Blizzard title listed on the stock market. So essentially asking if they're worried about, if the game gets delayed, how that's going to affect Blizzard's stock. And the blue response to that was, I do not think that the duration of the beta Blizzard title will affect the stock market. The game is planned for 2012 at the bottom. That said, I'm not a stockbroker, and then I cannot tell what might happen. So again, just some interesting questions, and all it is, I mean, all these questions, they're from different angles, but it's still trying to get the same thing. It's just trying to be like, oh, it's just people complaining because the game's not out yet. And I understand the anxiousness and kind of I don't want to use this word, but I will, the anxiety. Oh, I'm so stressed out. I'm so stressed out that Diablo isn't here. Yes, I can't wait for the game, but I mean, people just need to chill. I've been waiting a long time too. I was around. I played Diablo when it was released. I'm 26 right now, and I played Diablo when it first came out. So I'm right there with all you guys who have been waiting for it. Just because there may be some older fans of the series doesn't mean they've been waiting any longer. It just doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? So I'm in the same boat. I'm just as excited about the game, but freaking out about its release isn't going to change anything. And begging and pestering and being like, hey, but you said this and that, it's not going to change anything. The more we whine, it's not going to, it doesn't exponentially increase the likelihood of getting a response release date. We're going to hear about it when it's ready. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep. So that is that. And then next up, with that out of the way, we will be mentioning the fact that Diablo 3 coming to consoles, well, just looking more and more likely. There was recently a job posting looking for some people to contribute to the Diablo console experience. Specifically, in the job description, Blizzard Entertainment is seeking an enthusiastic software engineer. You must be enthusiastic. If you're not enthusiastic, you would not get the job. That's probably the key factor. You don't even need a degree as long as you're enthusiastic. Enthusiastic software engineer.
You know what?
What?
Ironically, that's almost the case. Like having a degree isn't really a requirement, and a lot of game companies don't require degrees as long as you're passionate about the games. So yeah, I know you're making a joke, and I'm not saying don't get your degrees, but yeah, I mean, a lot of times they don't really care about your. Well, obviously they care. I guess I'm just going to stop talking. I really can't put this in a very safe way.
So, enthusiastic software engineer to be a key contributor on the Diablo team. This position is responsible for ensuring the best implementation of sophisticated networking systems on consoles. The game is coming to consoles. The writing is in the sand. Is that the phrase? I think that works.
I couldn't tell you.
I don't know. I guess that doesn't seem very permanent, writing in sand.
Let's say the writing's. Let's say the wind blows.
Let's say the writing's on the wall, huh?
That would. Yep.
The writing is on the wall. Diablo's
in blood.
Coming to consoles.
Sorry for the gore options.
Diablo's coming to consoles eventually. It's not likely to push back the PC release date. This is independent from what we understand. This whole console, all these shenanigans are independent of the PC version of the game. In fact, it is very likely that a console version of the game would be even a separate game, almost like a different. Not I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's been stated that it would not be a direct port. Jay Wilson told us that.
Yeah, I think just what he means by that is that they would actually make the game to play on the console instead of taking the computer game and
throwing it on the console.
Like they would make any necessary UI changes or control changes and whatnot. But I mean, I would like to believe that the game will still be, it'll still be Diablo 3.
Yeah.
Actually, would you pick it up if it was on the console?
You know what? No. Not because I necessarily have anything against the console. And that's the other thing. People complain about that. Who cares? The only realistic complaint I could see people throwing out there is that if the console development delays the PC release, then I can understand some sort of frustration. But since the release dates of the PC and the console version aren't in sync right now, as far as we know, it shouldn't make a difference. But if someone takes my title and puts it on the console, I don't care. I don't care if there's more people playing the game. Why is that seen as a bad thing? People will talk about maturity levels of console gamers. Okay, you're not playing an MMO. It's Diablo. You don't have to play with anyone, and chances are you're not going to be playing with people you don't necessarily know. And first of all, I don't even know if it's going to be cross-compatible, so that argument's out the window. People seem to hate when other people enjoy what they enjoy who aren't part of their direct. You know what I mean? I just don't understand it. Or it's just or if someone doesn't like something, they hate everyone who likes it. Like people, it's the WoW thing too. What is up with the WoW thing? People just despise WoW and they hate everyone who enjoys the game. Really? Is this really what you're thinking about with your spare time and energy? Man.
It's funny. The people at Blizzard all love WoW. Obviously, they're terrible people.
Guess what? They're making Diablo. What do you think about that? I don't know. Anyways, that's just a small little rant of mine. That is not even specific to games. But if the game coming to console, it doesn't upset me. I don't feel that it affects me because I don't think it's going to affect the release. But people could argue that that's wrong. You can make the statement, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know what's going on in the Blizzard headquarters. Maybe they're waiting until the console development is at a certain point before they release the PC so that they can release the console title 3 months later or something. Maybe that's happening. I don't know. And if it is, it doesn't matter if I stress out about it or not.
So, and we'll never know anyway.
Right. So I'm not going to worry about it. Not gonna worry about it. Was there anything else? I don't know if there's much else big news. I think we pretty much covered.
I did want to mention that Deckard Cain kid.
Deckard Cain kid. Yes, you told me about this. Let me take a look. I'll get that look. Why don't you tell people all about the Deckard Cain kid?
All right. So basically, we have just a very out of the blue, spontaneous kind of thing. 15. Actually, I think he's 15. Either 15 or 16-year-old kid comes on Reddit and says, "Hey guys, my name is Deckard Cain Elder. I'm 16 years old. When I was just a baby, PC Gamer had a contest and actually I have this PC Gamer link if you want to throw that up there.
Gosh.
A buddy of mine uploaded the image. So PC Gamer back in 95, either 95 or 96, had a contest to get your name in Blizzard's next game, and the next game just happened to be Diablo. So what you did was you mailed away just your name or whatever it was. Your name, suggestions for your name, whatever, to get your name in the game, obviously. So, and this is back before people really used email and whatnot. So you had to mail it like snail mail. And they got a bunch of stuff. Like this kid's name ended up being in the game. So the letter that he got back was, "Congratulations, we're using your name in the game. You can see it by the character that's standing in front of the fountain in Diablo 1. Here's a complimentary Diablo 1 T-shirt, a unique statue. They gave him a Diablo statue that nobody else has. It's one of a kind, and some other cool swag like a hat and whatnot. And that was that. That was how Deckard Cain was named, because this kid was named Deckard Cain Elder. So that was where our Deckard Cain came from.
This is so ridiculous. First of all,
isn't it?
This kid, his real name is Deckard Cain the Elder. He's 16 years old, right? Yep. And Diablo 3 is about to come out. This kid's going to be playing the game with a character who's in the main storyline named after himself.
Isn't that crazy?
This is ridiculous.
It is. It's just nuts.
Oh, man. This guy should be...
My dad did that when I was a baby.
That's so funny. Why, first of all, why isn't Blizzard doing stuff like this now? Where is the Diablo 3 name your character contest?
Yeah, right.
I guess Blizzard was a much different company back then, but that is just awesome.
They were way smaller.
So pay homage to the one and only...
Deckard Cain the Elder.
No, the Elder is part of his legal name.
Yeah, well, he's Deckard Cain Elder is his name. He explains it in the thing. Like his first name was named after some Harrison Ford character, and then like Cain is his mom's maiden name or something, or his grandpa's name or something, and then Elder is obviously his last name. So I mean, it just worked out. That's just crazy to think about.
That is ridiculous. All right, Blizzard. I demand that my name be in Diablo. You know, it's funny because initially Attack was named Force in the game.
Oh, there you go.
This was the case last spring, and I was so amped up. I was like, that's awesome. And then they changed it to Attack. Like, you gotta be kidding me. I would have had an entire thing. It's hilarious now because I'm playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and my name's everywhere. Apparently, Force is a really big deal in Star Wars. Evidently, they model the universe after my name. That's the honest to goodness truth. Same competition for BioWare. You guys can thank me later. All right, so pretty awesome stuff, though. I think that's great. I'm a huge fan of that.
Heck yeah.
Deckard Cain the Elder. His post is over on Reddit. I'm not sure if it's still on the front page, but you can take a look at reddit.com/r/Diablo. I keep saying backslash. It's actually / reddit.com/r/Diablo. No forward, no back, because I just get confused with myself. But Deckard Cain the Elder, he's real. He exists. Now, we have some questions. Oh, great. I see about 3 of them. People are not asking questions. We might have to pull some from the chat channel.
We can show that to people. I think that's pretty funny. It's called Haley's Diablo instead of Haley's Comet.
I don't see that.
You don't get it?
No.
Haley's Comet's the comet that comes around once every 75 years.
Yes.
So it's a little kid looking at Diablo 1, and then he's a grandpa looking at Diablo 2, and then it's just nobody looking at Diablo 3.
All right. Let's pop that up here so people can see.
That was pretty clever. Some of these people are pretty funny. Oh, man.
There it is. Hey, Diablo. Hello again, Diablo, says the old Giza. There should have been a pile of bones.
Yeah, just a skeleton standing there.
I disappoint, actually. I really am. All right, let's hop into a couple of community questions. Again, we have about 5. I don't know why nobody asked questions. No one must be around right now. Question number 1 coming from Patrick over on the Facebook page. Facebook.com. All right, you just go to Facebook and type in Force Strategy. You'll be able to find it. And eventually ask questions for future ones. All right, he asks, a lot of people on the forums have been complaining about Magic Find recently. Do you think Magic Find is good as is, i.e. each person's loot is calculated by his or her own Magic Find, or do you think there's a better way to do it? A better way to do it? I don't... Why? See, it's an interesting debate, and it's something that we did talk about over the summer because we said, all right, this is the trade-off. When you get Magic Find gear, you are inevitably sacrificing statistics if you were to take an equal piece of gear. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you had a gear that had a total, I'm just a random number. You had a total of 100 stat points on this piece of gear, and those 100 stat points are allocated into this, that, and that, and part of those stat points are going to be Magic Find. Well, if you took an equal piece of gear, but the stat points weren't allocated into Magic Find, chances are you'd be more effective in combat, dealing more damage, being able to absorb more damage, having faster regen, whatever it is, all right? If you're getting Magic Find gear, a lot of times that means you're not doing as much damage, you're not effective as effective of killing things. So as a result, the complaint here with Magic Find is that if Magic Find is on an individual basis, like loot is, loot drops on an individual basis, so the more Magic Find you have, the better, higher quality items you will see drop, but your group won't. The problem is that people with high Magic Find, in a relative sense, in a theoretical sense, aren't helping the group as much. They're not helping kill as fast because they're not as effective because they're sacrificing some of their stats for Magic Find stats. Is that right? I think we talked about this in the summer, but it's been a while. What do you think about? Do you think that should be the way it is in our current iteration, or do you think Magic Find should be group? Should they take like a group calculation and then just evenly distribute it amongst all members?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm not really sure. If they did what you're saying, like if they averaged it out between all members, then what you can have is just you can have like one person that's really buff, or even two people really buff and playing a party of 4. So you can have two people just run through and just smash everything with the other two people loaded with Magic Find gear in the back. And then, I mean, and then I guess, is there anything wrong with that, really? I mean, I guess I don't really know, because then everybody's getting cool drops. But in the way we currently have it, just that person is getting cool drops. So, I mean, I guess the fair thing would be just to take it and average it out. But I mean, it's hard to say. I really don't know, because and then Blizzard says, well, you know, our AI on the monsters is supposed to be a lot better, so you can't really just hang out in the back. Although I'm sure people are going to be able to.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
That's going to happen. There's going to be people who get carried in one fashion or another. There's no question about that. But and you know, thinking about it again, you know, and once more, it's been a while since it's actually crossed my mind, because I don't think we talked about this since the summertime, but. It really doesn't seem, you know, if I'm playing in a group, I should be playing as a group. And people might say, someone might say, oh, don't be such a Nancy. If someone has Magic Find gear, you should still be all set. People probably don't understand how difficult, say, Inferno is going to be. Inferno is going to be for min-maxers. Like, you're going to need the best stats, the best whatever that you have. You should be, you know, getting the perfect amount of hit and resist, and you know what I mean. But you should be having the perfect balance for your characters. And if someone's gimping their effectiveness in combat in a excuse me, geez, frog in my throat. In a mode as difficult as Inferno is expected to be, then that could actually really hurt your group. And if at the same time, with all that Magic Find gear, not only are they not as effective, but they're getting better drops than you. You know? I mean, that's going to be... chances are, I'm just not going to want to group with someone if they're rolling around with full Magic Find gear and hardly helping me kill anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Especially now, because they're the only ones that are getting the benefit from it. So I'm working twice as hard to try and keep everybody alive. And they're over there just benefiting it, just chilling and hanging out in the back, you know, spamming, like, Frost Nova or something silly, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I think to answer the question, I guess I think it's actually kind of unfair the way it is. If I'm playing as a group, I expect everyone to pull their own weight. And if someone's just there getting a ton of good gear and hardly helping progress, you know, I would be annoyed. I'd probably just leave that game and go to another one. But I don't like what that takes away from their whole idea of this is a group game. You play with your friends. It's a lot of fun.
Right.
That's not going to happen if people are rolling around with MF gear, and you know.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever.
I guess I'm just curious as to how much exactly Magic Find is going to affect your drops.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the other thing I guess I should say. They had specifically said that Magic Find isn't going to be as devastating. Like, they're going to have Magic Find in the game, but it's not going to be as much of a hit to your stats. They're trying to make it so that it's not, you know, not as big of a deal. So
right, because I mean, if I'm running around Inferno, well, obviously I'm going to want to get good gear, in which case I'm going to want Magic Find. But if I'm not going to be able to survive Inferno because I'm using Magic Find, like, I don't know, I feel like there's a little bit of a toss up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see. My personal opinion is that it seems a little bit unfair.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with you on that.
And I'm losing my voice, but we'll get in a couple more questions here. Next question I'm going to grab is from David. When playing multiplayer, understand you only see drops available that you can pick up. Yes, that's correct. So it's not a free-for-all system. Are drops from bosses only for the ones who killed the boss, or will we be able to obtain loot? So it's not like whoever gets a last hit gets that loot. If you're in a group and you're within a relatively close proximity, basically if you're not like halfway across the map or in a different zone or level of the dungeon or whatever, then you'll be able to share the loot. And it, like when you kill a boss, I think it just like evenly distributes the loot.
Yep.
And then you can think of it. It's not exactly like this, but basically like every other mob. So I kill a mob, And then, we're killing mobs together, and then, like, every other mob that does have a chance of dropping loot will drop, one, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. That's basically how it works. But when it comes to bosses, yeah, you won't get, as long as you're in the area when the boss dies, you'll be getting loot. It's nothing to worry about.
Yep.
And then last major question from Daryl. You want to read that off?
Yeah, I was just reading it. Daryl says, with having all skills based on weapon damage, do you think they're going to have different weapons, have different attack speeds for the classes? It seems weird to have a wizard holding onto a high DPS axe, so his electrocutes are better. I mean, I'm just going to go out there and say no. I don't think they're gonna change item stats per class, and that's just to. I feel like it'll get way too confusing because I'll pick up an axe and say, hey, this does 13 damage per second. Here you go, Dennis. You can use it on your barbarian, and I drop it and he picks it up. And what are you talking about? It's only 10. I feel like that'd be way too confusing. But I mean, yeah. Now that everything's based on weapon damage, you obviously are looking for weapon stats, particularly speed and damage, and instead of just. And I feel like we've talked about this before, right when it changed. So now you're looking for those two stats as opposed to, weapons don't really matter for my wizard, so I'm just looking for, plus spell damage % or whatever, and plus attack speed or cast speed. So, I mean, yes, we're definitely trying to find different things on weapons, and weapons will definitely have a bigger role to play in how our builds are set up. But no, I don't feel like they're going to vary weapon stats depending on your class.
The other really big thing, too, people have to realize is that they're going to try to funnel casters into using one-hand offhand because offhands are supposed to be really good for casters.
Right.
Now, it's obviously going to depend on what you find, what drops for you, or what you get from the auction house. But essentially, offhands are supposed to increase the base damage of casters by percentage. So you'll find an orb offhand that gives you plus attack, plus regen, and then plus 5% damage to wizards, for example. And that's obviously something that's not going to help a barbarian. Barbarian doesn't need an offhand that does 5% more damage for wizards. And the same thing's going to happen for the Witch Doctor as well. There'll be offhands that increase your damage as well as a whole bunch of other stats. And that's to try to incentivize casters going one-hand offhand. Now, casters can clearly still walk around with a two-handed Barbarian Axe of Death if they want. But then they miss out on the extra stats, and they lose attack speed. They get higher damage, most certainly. But again, if in the ideal situation, I think Blizzard is going to make it so that the offhand is very very much so worth it to the casters, and so that they'll be going in that direction a majority of the time. So,
yep,
that's what I think.
Good deal.
That is how I think it's going to happen, and that should do it for this episode of DiabloCast. Well, it's nice to be back. And it's nice to have Kevin back. It's great.
Yes, sir.
We got some stuff going on. We got to figure out how this is all happening, but yeah, there's some Diablo stuff going on. Kevin's got some stuff in the works, and with the new year and the game coming up, I've got some stuff in the works as well. But we'll be talking about that in future DiabloCasts, and even we're going to be looking to have some other guest people and all sorts of stuff. So it's exciting, but we'll have to talk about that next time, I guess. Or
yes, sir. And we'll talk about it next year.
Next year.
Last DiabloCast of the year.
Oh, you're so funny.
Yeah.
What a riot. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of DiabloCast. Stay tuned next week for another episode. Hopefully I have my internet up by then. And yeah, for Kevin, this has been Dennis. We'll see you guys next time.
All right, guys. Happy New Year's. Happy birthday, Diablo, and take it easy, everybody.
Woo! Don't get alcohol poisoning, please.
Yeah, we want you to listen to us next week.
Awful. All right, so I'm moving, Kevin, and I'm moving to a place that doesn't have fiber optic internet.
Ooh.
But they have business fiber optic internet. Guess how much it costs?
Way too much.
$200 a month.
Oh, my.
That's what I get for moving for the lady.
It's a little excessive.
That is ridiculous. But you know what? It's the price you got to pay to produce beautiful content on the interwebs. So.
Beautiful content.